What are the risk factors?
Mm-hmm.
What are the risk factors? Yes, the risk factors of having these nerve cell destructions, we have hypertension is a major risk factor. We have, let's take the vascular risk factors. We have hypertension, we have diabetes, we have dyslipidemias. They are all major
like
factors.
high cholesterol and all
high cholesterol, yes, they are high. They are all risk factors of developing Alzheimer's disease. Apart from this, we have other elements that come from stress. We have we have free radicals that are produced during moments of stress, which come to favor neuronal death. That means destruction of the neurons. And stress can predispose, can favor nerve destruction that predispose people to developing Alzheimer's disease. Apart from that, we have, I've already spoken about aging. We have also multiple head traumas. Several injuries on the brain can cause that. And those are the most common risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. It's true, there are some genes that have been described and which can cause that, like Lon 4. So we have some genetic components, and we have people in families where children have Down syndrome. In some parts in Africa, it's called Mongol, but those are some, in those families, if you've had a child with Down syndrome, you have an increased risk of having Alzheimer's disease. Yes, the risk is higher in that family, so people need to be screened for that.
Wow, thank you very much for that. You know, it's kind of like a little full circle moment, because I remember when you started at the start of the episode, you'd mentioned that, you know, the percentage of people in Africa, it's the percentage that suffer from or are expected to suffer from Alzheimer's. It's increasing because of a change in our lifestyle. And then now you're talking about all these risk factors, hypertension, diabetes, all these things that are becoming more prevalent in our communities, both at home and abroad, especially due to the digitalized nature of life. You know, we're not as active as we're supposed to be. It's more of like, you know, just sitting in one position and not really exercising. Our diet is changing and all of that, you know, like lifestyle changes for the worse actually are happening even more commonly than otherwise. So it only makes sense that with this poor lifestyle choices come these diseases, like these metabolic diseases that in turn pose as a risk factor for Alzheimer's dementia. So thank you very much for sharing that. Now, I also want to revisit a timeline, right?
Yes.
Just to help people listening to identify, you know, the signs and symptoms of this disease. So what are like the first symptoms? I know you have said that in a big picture, but I want us to break it down according to timelines, right? Like, let's just say, what are the kind of symptoms that people should look out for first to even, or not necessarily first, but what are the symptoms that could first identify or raise or ring a bell, raise an awareness to, okay, like this may be Alzheimer's, this may be dementia, you know, before that could at least warrant them to seek medical advice?
Yeah. All right. Yes, the first sign in Alzheimer's disease, like I said, is we have memory problems. When you notice that you're beginning to forget more than you normally used to, it is good you seek medical advice. Now, those are the first signs. It's memory. I mean, and that can last for almost 10 years. Now, when you go to meet the doctor, he was going to screen for other things which can cause you to lose memory, to have a memory lapses. We should remember that as we age, our memories are not as swift as they used to be several years ago. So I'm not saying that the moment you forget something, you panic and think it's Alzheimer's. When you feel that your forgetfulness is really becoming worrisome, even some things that were very precious to you, you begin to lose them. Okay, like for example, you have a precious watch I don't know, maybe was offered to you, or you by someone maybe whom you cherish so much, is giving you that, you've always guarded that thing, and suddenly you cannot remember where you kept it. I think something you need to be careful about. You need to go and seek medical advice. If you come and you always put your coins, I mean precious things, either your jewelry or your wallet or your things, and you forget them, you cannot recognize where you've kept them. Meanwhile, you used to, in the past, remember it so well. If there is that change, then there might be a problem.
In essence,
I want to make a disclaimer. I'm not saying there are people who normally might not be very organized.
Yeah.
So they put their things and they forget where they've kept it. That's not Alzheimer's disease. Those are not signs of Alzheimer's.
In nursing school, they told us when they start forgetting to pay their bills, they just drive and forget to go to their houses straight, or they just get lost, or they just forget some basic stuff that they used to do. Those are some red flags that you have to
exactly.
Living African.